Good evening and welcome to the June 13th, 2023 Gilderton Central School District Board of Education meeting. Would you all please silence your cell phones and stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, first on the agenda tonight, we have the showcase of student athletes, so I'll turn it over to Dr. Wiles.
Okay, thank you so much. It's awesome to see a full room for a Board of Education meeting, so welcome to everyone who will be here for the beginning part of our meeting. I would like to introduce our Director of Physical Education, Health, and Athletics, Mr. David Austin, who's coming up to the podium to begin our program.
Everybody, is this on? Check, check. Okay. I got a loud voice anyways, I don't need this. Tonight I wanted to share with you some special accomplishments from our student athletes from this past 2022-23 school year. Tonight we'll be recognizing any team sectional champions from the fall, winter, and the spring seasons. That's why this room is so busy right now, which is a good thing. Individual sectional champions from the fall, winter, and spring seasons, and NISFA qualifiers from the fall, winter, and spring seasons. So the athletes you'll see tonight are some of the best in their respective sports in Section 2 and some of the best in the entire New York State. What they've done is incredible and certainly worthy of celebration, which is why we're here tonight. And as I understand it, this was a tradition prior to COVID, but it's been on a hiatus since COVID, so we're bringing it back. So we're excited to do that. And we have such an impressive group of individuals to recognize tonight. So we'll start with the fall season. And I'm going to start with the teams, and then we'll work our way through the individuals. And some of our athletes are standing already, so this might not work how I want it to work. But if you're already standing and I call your name, well, either sit right now and then you can stand when I call your name, or if you're standing, you can wave, all right? But we'll start with the girls cross country team. Girls cross country team qualified for the NISFA Federation meet in Bowden Park in Wappinger Falls, where they placed 10th as a team. If that team and coaches are here tonight and they could stand up, that's Braylon Cornell, Elka Hubbard, Lily Hubbard, Tara Iyer, Alexa Kozier, Addison Velicoop, Kara Whiteside, and they're led by head coach Dave Kozier and assistant coach Chris Scanlon. So that is our team. Can we have a round of applause for the girls cross country team? The girls cross country can sit, thank you. Now we will move on to the individual accolades in the fall season. And I would ask that athletes stand as I call their name and remain standing until we announce all athletes from the fall season. And then I also ask you to hold your applause until we are finished announcing all athletes from the fall season. So we'll stick to cross country, girls cross country. Addison Velicoop placed 10th at sectionals, which qualified her for the NISFA championship meet, where she finished 25th. On to girls tennis. Katrina Sechkinkoff made it all the way to the Section 2 singles final. Although she lost that match in a 3-set tiebreaker, she did qualify for the NISFA championship tournament. So congratulations to our individual winners in the fall. Round of applause, please, for them. Moving on to the winter season, we'll start with the team accolades. The girls indoor track and field team. Girls indoor track and field team, if you could stand up, please. After placing second at sectionals in 21-22, the girls indoor track and field team scored 175 points to capture their first Section 2 championship in school history. At this time, we've already got them standing, but athletes and coaches stand up to be recognized, and it's led by head coach Chris Scanlon, head coach Dave Kozier, assistant coach Taylor Mead, assistant coach Julianne Scanlon, assistant coach Emily Haig, volunteer coach Nancy Mainville, and volunteer coach Alicia Switzer. Congratulations to the girls indoor track and field team. And you can have a seat. Some of you will be standing back up in just a second as we move into the individuals. And again, I'd ask all athletes to stand as I call their name and remain standing until we announce all athletes from the winter season. I also ask to hold your applause until we're finished announcing all athletes from the winter season. We'll start with Megan Swan. She was crowned the sectional champion in the 45-meter dash and the 300-meter dash. She qualified for the NISFA championship meet in the 55-meter dash, where she placed 13th. Addison Velakoop was crowned sectional champion in the 600-meter run. She qualified for the NISPA championship meet in the 600-meter run and 1,000-meter run, where she placed 13th. Kendall Barnhart was crowned sectional champion in the 50-meter hurdles. Liz Liu was crowned sectional champion in the high jump. Olivia Hilton was crowned sectional champion in the triple jump. Parker Steele was a NISPA qualifier in the 55-meter hurdles, where she placed 13th at the championship meet. Tatum Kramer was a NISPA qualifier in the long jump. She placed 7th at the championship meet. Megan Swan, Tatum Kramer, Khadija Sano, and Saida Azabai were crowned sectional champions in the 4x200 relay. Megan Swan, Kendall Barnhart, Tatum Kramer, Saida Azabai were NISPA qualifiers in the 4x200 relay. They placed 2nd at the NISPA championship meet and broke a school record in the event. Moving on to boys indoor track and field. Akash Iyer was a NISPA qualifier in the 3,200 meter. We finished 2nd at sectionals in this race and 1st in the state qualifier race. On to gymnastics, if they're here. Addison Seabode was a NISPA qualifier. She placed 1st at sectionals on the floor and the beam. Miranda Patordi was a NISPA qualifier as well in gymnastics. She placed 2nd at sectionals on the floor and beam events. Girls wrestling. We do have a girls wrestling team. Thrilled to announce that. Aniela Kennedy, she's here. I know she's here. She could stand. She qualified for the first ever NISPA Girls Wrestling Championship meet, where she placed 4th. She is the first Gilliland female wrestler to be a state place finisher. We've got some cross-country skiers here as well. Nathaniel Burke was a NISPA qualifier. He competed in the state championship meet at Bristol Mountain in Rochester and finished 28th. His teammate, Landon Keinel, was also a NISPA qualifier. He finished 20th at the state championship meet. We have hopefully some boys swimmers and divers in here. Eric Ryan was crowned sectional champion in the 100-yard butterfly. He qualified for the NISPA championship meet. He was also a NISPA qualifier in the 200 individual medley, where he set a new team record. Isak Brkanovic is a NISPA qualifier in the 50-yard freestyle and 100 breaststroke. Isak, Eric, and their Voorheesville teammates were also crowned sectional champions in the 200-yard freestyle, also setting a new team record. Isak, Eric, Bao Wen, and Brody Steele were named sectional champions in the 200 medley relay. They qualified for the NISPA championship meet. Whew. Congratulations to our winter sectional winners and NISPA qualifiers. And last but certainly not least, we move on to the spring season, the one that just finished up. After placing 2nd at sectionals in spring 2022 by only 5 points to Saratoga, the girls outdoor track and field team scored a whopping 183 points to capture the first Section 2 team championship in school history. It was a true team effort, scoring points in 18 out of 19 events. The team sent a double-digit number of athletes to the state meet, where they placed 5th as a team in federations. At this time, can we have all members of the girls' outdoor track and field team and coaches stand up to be recognized? And they are led by head coach Chris Scanlon, assistant coach Dave Kozier, assistant coach Taylor Mead, assistant coach Dan Penna, volunteer coach Emily Haig, and volunteer coach Alicia Switzer. Can we have a round of applause for the very impressive girls' outdoor track and field team? You have a seat. Some of you will stand back up here in a second. We had a lot of sectional winners and state qualifiers for outdoor track. So I will start with the individuals and then move our way to the relay events. Again, I'd ask all athletes to stand as I call their name and remain standing until I finish the full list, and hold a round of applause until I finish the full list. Kendall Barnhart was crowned sectional champion in the 200-meter dash and the 400-meter dash. She qualified for the NISPA championship meet in the 400-meter dash, where she placed 3rd in Division I and 6th in the Federation. Addison Velakoop was crowned sectional champion in the 800-meter run. She qualified for the NISPA championship meet in the 800-meter run, where she placed 3rd in both Division I and Federations. She also qualified for the NISPA championship meet in the 1500-meter run. Parker Steele was crowned sectional champion in the 100-meter hurdles. She qualified for the NISPA championship meet in that event and placed 4th in Division I and 6th in Federations. Tatum Kramer was crowned sectional champion in the long jump. She qualified for the NISPA championship meet in this event, as well as the 100-meter dash. Khadijah Sano was crowned sectional champion in the shot put. She qualified for the NISPA championship meet in this event and placed third in Division I and fifth in federations. Avery Kerr was crowned sectional champion in the pentathlon. Megan Swan qualified for the NISPA championship meet in the 100-meter dash. Liz Liu qualified for the NISPA championship meet in the high jump. And to our relay teams, our very impressive relay teams. Tatum Kramer, Khadijah Sano, Parker Steele, and Megan Swan were crowned sectional champions in the 4x100 relay. Megan Swan, Saida Azabai, Addison Velakoop, Kendall Barnhart were crowned sectional champions in the 4x400 relay. They also qualified in this event for the NISPA championship meet, where they placed an impressive second in both Division I and federations. Tatum Kramer, Saida Azabai, Kendall Barnhart, and Megan Swan qualified for the NISPA championship meet in the 4x100 relay, where they also placed second in both Division I and federations. Avery Kerr, Alexa Kozier, Kara Whiteside, Addison Velakoop qualified for the NISPA championship meet in the 4x800 relay, where they placed fifth in Division I and sixth in federation. Again, another, whew, that's a long list. Congratulations to all of our spring sectional winners and NISPA qualifiers. So once again, congratulations to all of our athletes and coaches on the year, on their very special seasons. I would also like to thank the Board of Ed for their continued support in our athletic programs. And we hope to be recognizing at least as many athletes next year, hopefully more. And we are just about wrapped up, but here's what I'd like to do. We'd like to do 3 pictures up here with our board and our district administrators in front of the backdrop here. We can kind of stand. We'll start with the fall teams. We have fall teams and fall individual. Want to come up? We'll do a quick picture. In winter, you're on deck. And spring, you're on double deck. Let's do this as quickly as we can. As quickly as you race on the track. Let's see if we can do it. Yeah, let's do that. Somebody might have to take the picture, though. Here, come right back here. Coach Fabro, can you take a picture for me? Yeah. Last but not least, spring, and we're out of here.
It's okay, you think? Okay, next on the agenda, we have our high school student rep.
We had a lot of successful concerts. We had Mayfest, where the middle school and high school orchestras played together, and that was really amazing. I know a lot of the middle schoolers were inspired by the high school orchestra. We also had a really successful anti-hate rally. There were around 150 people in attendance, and they did a really great job of unifying our community and teaching the importance of allyship when it comes to standing up against hate and making our community a safer place for everyone. We also, today was the last day of school, and we had the senior picnic, and now we're entering Regents Week and finals. The track team has nationals this weekend, and they crushed it for states, so I'm sure they'll also crush it at nationals. And then finally we have graduation. Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have the public hearing for the volunteer firemen and ambulance workers tax exemption. I'll turn this over to Dr. Van Alstyne.
I'm going to provide an firefighter and ambulance worker property tax exemption, the process for potentially adopting it, as well as the estimate of potential impact for beneficiaries and district taxpayers. So in December of last year, Governor Hochul signed into law Real Property Tax Law 446A, which allows municipalities, including school districts, to provide a tax benefit of up to 10% reduction in the assessed value of residential properties to volunteer firefighters and ambulance workers. To adopt the exemption, a municipality would define the criteria for eligibility, but the threshold would be at least 2 years up to 5 years of experience, right, is that category. In addition, to receive the benefit, the volunteer firefighter or ambulance worker must live in the community service by the relative agency, so the firefighting department or ambulance service they volunteer with. The property that receives it must be their primary residence. Using it either exclusively for residential purposes or, if it's for mixed use, only the value of the property that is associated with residential use would be eligible, right? So if someone runs business out of their home or does something else, the residential portion of the property value would be eligible for the exemption. In addition, there are lifetime exemptions. So anyone who's a member of a fire department or volunteer ambulance service who has more than 20 years of active service can get a lifetime exemption. In addition, we have the option, if we were to adopt this, of granting exemptions for life to unremarried surviving spouses of deceased volunteer firefighters or ambulance workers, either who had 20 years of service or more at the time of their death, or had 5 or more years of service and were killed in the line of duty. To receive the benefit, the applicant would be certified as eligible by the relative department, fire department, ambulance service, based on criteria that are defined. There can be a point system or some sort of scheme that identifies meaningful participation. So it's not just the 2 to 5 year window, but it could be participating in training events, active case involvement, other forms of service, because the idea is to reward meaningful service. The application would be due by March 1st to the assessor's office. Because March 1st of 2023 has already passed, the first year that this would potentially be in effect in our district would be for 2024-25. Trying to project the impact of this, again, these are very approximate numbers because we've not set the tax rates for next year, but using preliminary projections, based on the numbers the chiefs provided, there would be potentially 150 residents eligible for this. The total assessed value of their properties would be $41.5 million. So if we look at the tax rate, 10%, that would be about $75,000 in savings, or $490 per eligible volunteer if everyone was eligible. the way taxes and levies work is the board adopts a budget that has a levy associated with it. That levy is then divided across the property value within the district. So if we're reducing the amount of property value by 4 million, we would see very slight increases in property taxes for other residents. So the impact would be estimated to be 2 cents per $1,000 of assessed value, or for a house assessed at $250,000, an annual impact of about $4.50. Any questions? Yes.
Support it, and then this would impact the next year's.
It would be next year's.
Okay.
So we would vote on it, and then we would vote if we wanted to add the other
Okay.
lifetime exemptions.
Go ahead, Kelly.
When is it that we work out the different things? Like, is it going to be a number scheme or a point scheme, or do we work that out, or is that up to the town? Do we adopt what the town does?
That is one option. So, from what I understand, we would adopt the exemption, will be named, or council to define this, and then we would create the point scheme associated with that, and then either at that point or later we could add on the lifetime exemptions.
So that would happen after we choose to adopt it, in
Either when
between
we
then
adopt
and
it,
March
we would adopt
1st of
And we have a
next year.
flexible timeline because we don't have to take in place until March 1st.
Okay.
I just thank you for explaining it, because to me it seems like a no-brainer. So, and it's by county, right? Everybody in the county has to be on board, is that correct?
It is counties and municipalities
Okay.
can adopt it. So, for example, the town of Guilderland has adopted it. We can, as a school district, adopt it.
Okay.
So that would affect their town taxes, this would affect school district taxes.
Great. Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Andrew. Next on the agenda, we have public comment. We have several in-person public comments and some written public comments, so I'll start with the in-person public comments. First, we have Shannon Clegg. Just a reminder that we have a 3-minute timer for public comments. When you go to the mic, can you just say your name so people watching at home know who they're listening to? Thank you.
Hello, I'm Shannon Clegg, and I am here on behalf of being a high school teacher in our school, and also being a board of directors member of the Caring Closet. As you see, I did not prepare comments, so I'm going off the top of my head here. But myself and Amanda Beadle are here just thanking you for the support in the Caring Closet. For those people at home that don't know, the Caring Closet is a 501c3 organization that is providing free hygiene products to Guilderland students and their families in all 7 of our schools. And I got involved with this because I made a donation to Amanda, and we had a really great conversation. Being a person that grew up with not enough in my household, it really means a lot to me, and it would have made a huge impact on my family. So just being involved from the board of directors of the Caring Closet and seeing how that works, and being a member of the Guilderland high school community is really bridging that gap and helping us just bring those hygiene supplies to the families that need them. I know that I have a lot of students. We're refilling our high school closet every week with at least $500 or $600 worth of supplies. So students, we have a great need in this district. And it's just a wonderful work that we're able to continue doing with your support. And we just wanted to bring that to light, hopefully spread the message to more people out there, and just let the community know that there's a huge need in this whole place for all these supplies. So thank you very much.
And thank you, Shannon. Next, we have Michael Dempsey.
Hello again. So good evening, members of the board. In case you don't remember, I'm Mike Dempsey. I'm the chairman, and for the ones at home, I'm the chairman of the Guilderland Fire Chiefs Association. I'd like to take a little bit of time to thank you for considering the volunteer firefighters and ambulance workers tax exemption. Recruiting and retaining new members to join the volunteer fire departments has become increasingly more difficult. We actually have put together a team of firefighters from every department in town to try and combat this trend. And so this exemption, if you guys adopt it, will aid them in recruiting new members to join our departments. And then on a more personal level, I know that the exemption shows for all of us a very tangible way of appreciation that the school board and through an extension there, the residents that you serve, the appreciation you have for the time that we spend away from our families going to trainings and drills and fire calls. And that was really it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dempsey. Next, we have Amanda Beadle.
Hi, I'm Amanda Beadle. I am the founder and executive director of the Caring Closet Guilderland, and I'm here tonight to kind of give you an update since we started this long ago back in May. It's been an amazing first school year as far as assistance goes and the impact that we've had on the community here in Guilderland Central School District. To date, which would be as of yesterday at another drop, we have donated an astounding 9,177 items to all 7 of our schools, totaling $12,301. So you think that there's no need for this in our school district? There absolutely is, and it's going to continue to grow. Thankfully, we launched a successful pilot program at Guilderland Elementary using reusable bags that were donated to us, and we fill them with product at the beginning of each month. The family gives us back the empty bag mid-month, and I bring it right back at the end, so they don't have to ask for things anymore. It's just given to them kind of like an Instacart style shop. So we will be having Linwood join us on board this fall as well. We've been filling special requests through community partners such as the Guilderland Food Pantry. When families don't feel comfortable connecting through the school, they connect through the Guilderland Food Pantry where they're already using the backpack program as well. As of today, we just purchased an actual closet for Farnsworth Middle School for their space. We're very excited. It is going to be delivered Thursday, and that'll allow us to expand our offering and selection there at Farnsworth Middle School. We have provided hygiene items and personal care items all over the spectrum. In following our mission, we have picked up some amazing support along the way. We have seen students, youth organizations, big corporations, local small businesses, houses of worship, local families all step up to help out us in our community. We are beyond grateful for our community's willingness to help us and others, and we are gearing up for September already, so keep on a lookout for ways to support us. And I had a parent reach out, and it's why I do what I do, and I'm very grateful for all your support as a board and the school community. This parent wrote, their child told them that they have friends who use the closet at the high school, and they think it's awesome. One girl got body spray, and it made her whole day. It was her favorite scent. She said, and it's doing a lot of good for the kids who don't need the closet. The kids are starting to think differently about these kinds of programs and helping people, and not the stigma. From what they tell me, they're all brainstorming other ways they can be helpful. You've certainly done so much for everyone, the kids in need and the kids who aren't. You've made it cool to help people in need, not ostracize them. So I'd like to thank the entire school board for allowing us to come in as an organization to be able to help the next generation of the town that I so dearly love. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Beadle. And just to clarify, the Caring Closet is on 155, right next to the food pantry?
We have an actual space now right next to the Guilderland Food Pantry, so we kind of work in concert, hand in hand, and we have an outdoor donation box as well, all year round.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Did you say that you had a paper?
Yeah, I emailed to Hawthorne Public Forum. I don't know if you have my sheet.
Oh, so I have a few written public comments, and then can we add on at the end, Linda? Okay, so, sure.
Are you accepting volunteers? I know that some students are looking for volunteer hours and, think this is a great program.
We're going to have kind of a summer decompression to kind of figure out what the next steps will be.
Okay.
Because we want to be able to bring the children in, but it's been completely kind of
Gotcha.
along the way. But it is our next step.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so the next public comment is a written public comment. and I'll start reading this. This says, my name is Leanne Royer, and I'm the parent of 3 Guilderland students. My youngest is in 2nd grade at Altamont Elementary, and my 2 older children are in 9th and 10th grade, and both went through Altamont. I'm writing to express my concern for the size of my son's current and future class size at Altamont Elementary. For his particular grade, we started kindergarten during the height of COVID and was blessed with a small group of 10 kids in his class due to COVID restrictions. 1st grade, we went back to a normal year. He had the max of 23 kids in each of 2 sections, which by Guilderland's guidelines is the highest number of students allowed for 1st grade. They were at the absolute max at the beginning of the school year, leaving 0 room for any additional students that may move during the school year. Also take into consideration the huge jump for 6-year-olds from a class of 10 to 23. Our only saving grace in 1st grade was that each class had a full-time TA. 2nd grade, we also started out with the maximum allowed by Guilderland's guidelines of 23 kids in each of 2 sections. However, this year neither class had any TA up until about 2 months ago, and that 1 TA is split between 2 classes. Add in 2 more kids that got placed in 1 class and one of the current 2nd grade classes over the district guidelines by 2 students. It's unacceptable and completely unfair to the kids and the teacher. Most of us with 2nd graders at Altamont have heard for 2 years at parent-teacher conferences that this is the biggest class they've ever had. I can only speak for myself, but I will forever regret not pushing this issue last year. They are the most valuable years for students to learn the important fundamental skills of reading, writing, and the basics of math. There is no way that one teacher can possibly help these kids to reach their maximum potential, and quite frankly, it's unfair for anyone to expect that of them. It's also my understanding from research that we have the largest class at Altamont with the only grade level over 20 students in class. It's also my understanding that we may have in fact have one of the largest class size in any of the 5 elementary buildings, if not the largest. Again, with one of the only classes over 20. I have already previously expressed through other emails to the board and Dr. Wiles the breakdown of students in other buildings, specifically in 2nd and 3rd grade. It's really proved to be unfair to Altamont and the current 2nd grade, upcoming 3rd grade. Increasing the number of 3rd grade classes from 2 to 3 aligns with the educational standards set forth by the state of New York. New York State Ed Department recommends smaller class sizes, particularly in earlier grades, to facilitate personalized instruction and promote academic success. In fact, Kathy Hochul signed a bill last fall to ensure that New York City kindergarten through 3rd grade class sizes would not exceed 20 students, further proving the importance of smaller class sizes. And the letter goes on to stay within our time limit. They're asking for 2 full-time TAs at the current 2nd grade for the next coming school year. Thank you, Linda. The next public comment, this is from Michael Costabile. I hope I said that right. Good evening. I hope this email finds you well. My name is Michael Costabile, and I'm the chief of the McDowellville Fire Department in the town of Guilderland. I recently met some of you during one of your committee meetings, and I thank you so much for your time then and your time now. This email is intended to express strong support related to the agenda item 7300, the volunteer firefighters and ambulance workers tax exemption. Tomorrow is the monthly meeting for our McDowellville Fire Department, and we will not be able to physically present at your meeting tomorrow night. I cannot stress enough how much interest and support our members have in seeing this exemption pass. It will become a strong recruitment tool to attract more volunteer firefighters to our ranks and the ranks of our neighboring town of Guilderland Fire Departments. It will also become a strong retention tool to keep members active within our ranks. Finally, and most importantly for myself as a leader for these amazing firefighters, it will serve as a thank you to for their service to the residents of the town of Guilderland and the Guilderland School District. Thank you so much for your time and attention in advance. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out. Thank you, Mike. The next public comment is from Maya Sullivan. It says, dear members of the board, my name is Maya Sullivan, a parent of 2 children at Guilderland Schools, Altamont and FMS, and an elementary teacher. I am asking as a parent and teacher that you closely examine the class sizes of 23, 24, 3rd grade in Altamont. My daughter was placed in a 2nd grade classroom that started with 24 students which exceeded the guidelines for primary classes. Throughout the year, a student moved, but there was also 2 students transferred in, which brought her second grade class to 25. I am requesting that you take a look at the third grade sections in other elementary schools. Some have 3 to 5 sections, all well under the class guidelines. Meanwhile, at Altamont, we're already at the cap, and that's without incoming students throughout the school year. Please don't let this happen to these students again. As a teacher, I know how difficult it is to provide individualized attention and support that students need with a class size over 20. As additional proof that class size matters, Governor Hochul just passed a bill that New York City schools do not exceed 20 students for a class in grades K through 3. Shouldn't we use this recommendation as best practice for our early learners? Now more than ever, the students' emotional and academic needs have to be met, especially after living through COVID restrictions. By adding an additional third grade section, you can assure that students' needs are met while supporting student learning, participation, social well-being, and growth. Thank you for your time and consideration, Maya Sullivan. Public comment number 4. This is from Heather Reineman. My name is Heather Reineman. I'm a mother of 2, one of whom is at grade 2 at Altamont Elementary. I'm writing to you today out of frustration and concern regarding the class size of the second grade at Altamont. Both classes started out with the maximum allowed by Gilderland's guidelines of 23 kids in each of 2 sections. And to my understanding, neither class had a TA until February of this year, and that TA is split between the 2 classes. Throughout the year, my daughter's class has welcomed new students that have now put the class over the guidelines. It's unacceptable and detrimental to the kids and teachers alike. Going forward, it is my hope that next year you expand the current Altamont grade 2 into 3 sections for third grade as educational content shifts and expectations are more challenging, as well as state testing. These kids have had a tough time in their educational career, starting with kindergarten in 2020 with a class size of 12. I know my daughter struggled personally when she got to first grade and the class size doubled. Second grade has been a good year for her, and I credit that solely to her teacher, but I'm sure it has not been easy for her and others that help in the classroom. I do believe that there are currently 3 classes in third grade, and it needs to remain that way the next year. I would love for these kids to experience a smaller class size and see what it can do for their confidence, ability to learn, and quite frankly, their overall school experience. Smaller class sizes are best practice, and from having attended GSCD, that's what I've come to know, love, and respect from Guilderland schools. Thank you so much for your time, Heather Reineman. The last public written comment comes from Tracy Meyer. It's noteworthy to write that this past September, Governor Kathy Hochul signed legislation limiting class sizes in New York City public schools, the nation's largest school system. The legislation will cap classrooms at 20 in K through 3 and 23 students 4 through 8. Although this mandated legislation does not apply to the state as a whole, it's a clear message that these changes need to be implemented and that our schools should be focusing on accelerating learning and bridging gaps widened by the pandemic. Thank you, Tracy Meyer. And last, Robert, thank you. Can you just say your name again at the mic for people home? Thank you. And just a reminder of 3 minutes.
Yep.
Thanks.
My name's Robert DiPasquale, and I appreciate having the opportunity to present my argument for recess to the board. I've been here 4 times already, and I don't plan to stop unless there is a recess. Last time I was here to discuss recess, a person who spoke after me stated that there was no time to add recess to the curriculum next year. There's no time to allow our children the minimum 60 minutes throughout the day for physical health and well-being, which is required. That means there's no time to allow for our children to have normal social relationships with their peers versus Facebooks and other online forums which they're forced to use. There's no time for our children to have a break and to regroup their thoughts. There's no time for these children to discuss issues with their peers and to share their problems. There's no time to allow teachers to take a break from their students. Teachers are people too, and they should have some time as well. Guess what, folks? We need to make time for our children. We need time to allow these children to express themselves. We need time to allow for our children to relax and to spend some of that energy, allowing them to be more calm and settled once they return to class. Our children need 60 minutes a day for physical activity. We all take breaks, including the person who said that there was no time to add recess to the curriculum. Please, let's not be hypocrites here. We all take breaks, but we are not going to allow it for our children. What a double standard. I'm hoping the board can make their own decisions and do what is right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And we have one more public comment. Can you just say your name at the mic? Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you, President Rivera. Jake Crawford, member of the Gilderland Town Council. Will be very brief. Don't even worry about the timer. I want to thank you all so much for considering the volunteer firefighter and EMT tax exemption. I hope you take a look at that information. As you stated in your presentation, the Gilderland Town Board did pass this exemption. I hope you'll take that into consideration. Hope you'll look over the information. I hope you'll support our volunteer firefighters and EMTs and pass this tax exemption. Thank you.
Linda, are there any more public comments? No? Okay. So just to break down some of the topics, the Caring Closet, thank you again for coming and sharing the information. The firefighter and ambulance tax exemption, I think we'll be voting on that in the next meeting, which is July 5th. At the next meeting.
The resolution will come at that meeting.
At that meeting, yep. So I'm in favor of it, and there's nothing else really we could do now, but I appreciate all the information and seeing everybody come in, support in person, and then we have some faces to, you know, the resolution, which makes it easier. But I think that will be a no-brainer. Go ahead, Blanca.
Yeah, thank you for coming out, and thank you, Andrew, for finding that information for us. I was a little disheartened when it was first brought to the board by the business committee, to be honest with you, because we didn't have numbers at that time, and so I was afraid it was just going to die there. So thank you for getting those numbers. Thank you for following through and discussing it, and I support it.
Doing all the legwork and getting us the data. It was very helpful and much appreciated.
Great. And then regarding the class size, I'll ask Dr. Wiles if you could just speak a little bit to the guidelines and the elementary school class sizes.
So I can speak in general that we do have guidelines for class sizes. And they are guidelines. They are not caps or limits, but they basically help us make decisions about the numbers of sections we have in each of our buildings at each of the grades. So K2, our guidelines are 18 to 23 students, and grades 3-5, they're 21 to 25 students. So currently projected for the third grade in Altamont next year, since that's the class that everyone is writing about, we currently have 47 students who we are expecting in that grade for next year, which is actually 3 under the top of the guideline. So that's why at this point there hasn't been a request from within the organization to add another section to that. We haven't hit that threshold yet. I know in that same class in second grade, they did end up going over the guideline of the 23 because we had a couple students who moved in mid-year. That does happen. And because of the particular needs of the students and where we had the supports, they had to go in a particular classroom. That happens across the district all the time. And it's, you know, a game of prediction and trying to understand where the numbers will go. You know, I can assure everyone that we'll continue to look at the class size in third grade at Altamont. If it crosses over that upper guideline, we can certainly consider that. I just want to point out, because a number of the writers mentioned other third grades across the district, and I can give you averages for those. So at Altamont, the class size average at third grade is projected as of June 13th to be 23.5. It's 21 at Gilderland Elementary. It's 19.75 at Linwood. It's 19.5 at Pine Bush, and it's 22.25 at Westmere. A couple of those buildings traditionally get large numbers of students over the summer, so some of those will absolutely go up over time. We also have other sections that are at the top of their guideline that we have to look at for potentially creating another section. So I certainly understand the concerns, the writers who shared their thoughts about the third grade. Because we've lost a couple of students in that grade, we're not at the top, but we will continue to monitor it. And I'm happy to take any other questions from the board.
Kim?
Not so much a question, am I allowed to make a comment?
Sure.
Okay, a few people mentioned I guess what Governor Hochul signed in with the 20. I just think it's kind of important to know that it's actually a 5-year rollout. It's not instant. It's also, once that 5 years hits, there are also waivers for over-enrollment, for lack of space, for teachers who aren't licensed yet. Plus, they will not make that accommodation for any special schools or programs. So I'm not saying that I disagree with the law, but I just thought that just for transparency that we should know both sides of it. It's not an instant thing, it's a 5-year rollout.
We are experiencing a dramatic shortage of teachers. Now, not as much at the elementary level, but we are soon going to address our consent agenda where we're doing lots of hiring, and it is increasingly difficult to find certified, qualified teachers to come. So that is going to be a challenge for New York City, and we're feeling the challenge right here. So thank you for that.
And also, excuse me, teaching assistants. So they said that they didn't have teaching assistants, which certainly makes a difference, but we're having a hard time getting enough of those too, I believe.
So just to clarify, we did approve teaching assistants to be in that second grade on September 9th of last year. And to Judy's point, it's very hard to hire them and find them. So I don't think we were able to fill the position till about February. So that is yet another challenge. If those numbers continue to be high, we can certainly look at that, but finding the people to do it is really difficult.
Yeah, I was just gonna to jump in and say, you guys are welcome to stay, but you can take a minute to step out if you'd like.
Thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
And I guess just a last comment about the class size issue, or the, I'm sorry, not class size, recess. I'm not opposed, of course, to recess, but I think it's a lot more complicated than just saying I support recess. There's contractual obligations, there's transportation, there's minutes in the school day. So while I would love to just say I support recess and like make that happen somehow, it can't just happen that way. But I think, you know, having that discussion starting at, I don't know if you've gone to the middle school PTA or talked about, you know, just starting at like that ground level to talk about what other interests, to see what other ways that could work. But there probably, I can speak for the board, and I would say that the research shows that for sure, and I think we would all support that, but it's, you know, to say that in theory is one thing, but then to actually have it work out in application, I think is something else. So I appreciate, though, your consistent effort and reminder to us about the importance of recess. So thank you. And I will move on then next to the consent items, which includes the minutes of the May 23rd meeting, the CSE and CPSE recommendations, personnel action, and financials. Can I have a motion to approve the consent items? Blanca, second. Gloria. Any questions or comments? All in favor? Passes 8-0. Dr. Wiles, do you want to say something?
I just want to point out that in that action, we now have a brand new house principal at Farnsworth Middle School who is here with us this evening. So I want to welcome Ryan St. John, our newest administrator. So welcome to Guilderland.
Great, thank you. Okay, moving on. Next, we have information items, curriculum and instruction. I'll turn this over to Rachel.
Good evening. I have 3 items this evening. The first is again to recognize our athletes. we have some teams who have been named as Spring Scholar Athlete teams. To receive Scholar Athlete team recognition with a certificate, the team's average GPA for 75% of the team roster must be greater than or equal to 90. This means that you take 75% of that roster, average their GPAs, and that must be 90 or higher. The teams that we will recognize are girls lacrosse, boys lacrosse, baseball, softball, boys tennis, boys track and field, girls track and field, and unified basketball. That's all 8 of the Guilderland teams in spring sports receiving that Scholar Athlete recognition. In addition to the Scholar Athlete team recognition, a total of 151 Guilderland athletes qualified as individual Scholar Athletes. To receive individual Scholar Athlete recognition with a PIN, athletes must have a 90 GPA or above. And thank you to our coaches for prioritizing academics, and congratulations to the teams, athletes, and coaches on the special accomplishments. Second, I'd like to recognize someone who is actually here with us tonight. We wanted to share some good news regarding one of our own GHS English teachers who was recognized on May 22nd at the Los Angeles Crime and Horror Film Festival. Andy Maycock's screenplay, The Hitchcock Murders, won Best Feature Screenplay. And the following is from the film festival's website. Every season, we award screenplays in multiple categories and give recognition to the voices of tomorrow's crime and horror classics. Plus, winning screenplays will be considered by Hollywood professionals, including managers and production companies. So congratulations, Andy. And finally, this evening, I would like to tell you about a program that took place in all of our elementary libraries this spring. Our 5 elementary librarians, Julia Healy from Linwood, Ann Johnson from Altamont, Dee Johnson from Westmere, Sarah Kranzler from Pine Bush, and Julie Tutel from Guilderland, organized a district-wide visit with author and illustrator Eric Velasquez during the last week of April. This is the first time in recent history that an author has been able to visit all 5 elementary schools, so that made it a little extra special. Eric spent 1 day in each of the elementary buildings, and students were able to purchase books for signing. If you ask the students, the most exciting portion was when a student from each session in each building was selected to have his or herself sketched. So it was quite a gift for the students, and if you look at some of the pictures attached to the agenda item, you'll see some of those students posing. So Eric Velasquez is the son of Afro-Puerto Rican parents who was born in Spanish Harlem and grew up in Harlem. His dual heritage, coupled with the experience of living in dual cultures in New York City, gives Eric a rich and unique cultural perspective. His titles have won Coretta Scott King and Pura Belpré and Walter Awards. In 2021, the book She Was There First, The Trailblazing Life of Shirley Chisholm, written by Catherine Russell Brown and illustrated by Eric, won an NAACP award for outstanding children's literature. So it was a great opportunity for our students. Thank you.
Next, we have board president information. 2 items. The first is the NYSBA convention, and the NYSBA resolution kit is attached here. I think if you draft a resolution, they're due on July 14th, and they encourage you to reach out to a NYSBA person before submitting a resolution. And the next item related to this is the proposed resolution for pre-K. And I'll let Dr. Wiles explain more details, but essentially this, because the universal pre-K is not truly universal, and so that's where the impetus of this draft resolution kind of comes from.
So the background on this, I think as we've spoken at this table on numerous occasions, is the concern about the 100% random lottery selection for students in the pre-K program sometimes leaves our neediest students out of luck in getting a slot because of the way the law works. In this most recent legislative session, my colleague superintendents and I have done quite a bit of advocacy to bring attention to this, to allow the law to change in order to have some kind of a weighting system to assist those families most in need to have a better chance of getting a position in the lottery. While we felt we had more attention, it didn't go anywhere. And one of the things that we heard from Julie Marlette, who is from Hinman and Straub, who works with us, is that we need to bring this to the attention of our various associations, including the School Boards Association. So the recommendation was that if we were willing as a school district to bring forward a resolution to NYSBA to be considered at the annual convention in October on this very topic. So Julie kindly offered some draft language, and it's before you for discussion tonight. If the board wanted to go forward with this resolution, we would need to submit it to NYSBA by July 14th, so you could act on this on July 5th if you wanted. And then it would become part of that booklet that you're all so familiar with for the convention in October. So I'm happy to take questions or comments or edits or thoughts on the drafting of it itself.
I think it's great. I think it kind of aligns with our focus on equity, and hopefully it'll be up for action next meeting.
Okay.
Okay,
I will
thank you.
pass that along and with great appreciation.
Thanks, Dr. Wiles. Next, we have action items. First, school business. I'll turn this over to Andy.
Thank you very much. Our first item, it would be approving the annual engagement letter from Weston Company for the audit of the 22-23 fiscal year. This would be the 4th year of our 5-year agreement with them.
For the external audit, Katie, second, Kelly. Any questions or comments? All in favor? Passes 8-0.
Thank you. Next are 3 service agreements for programs and services for students with disabilities and students whose needs are best met through alternative education programs. All 3 of these continue existing agreements we have. They are the Center for Disability Services Langland School, located in Albany, Music Speaks, and the Oak Hill School.
Great. Can I have a motion to approve these service agreements for students with special needs? Judy, second, Gloria. Any questions or comments? All in favor? Passes 8-0.
All right. Next are internship agreements. The first would be renewing our agreement with Ithaca College. This would allow clinical laboratory experience for student teaching, internships, practicums. And the second agreement is with SUNY Albany to allow the school districts and university to partner on placements for bachelor's and master's students in the social work program.
Can I have a motion to approve the internship agreements? Rebecca, second, Kim. Okay. Any questions or comments? All in favor? Passes 7-0 with 1 abstention.
The next are emergency preparedness sheltering agreements. These are continuations of the emergency preparedness or transportation agreements for the district to serve as the emergency evacuation sites or transportation services, and businesses to serve as emergency evacuation sites for the district.
Can I have a motion to approve these emergency preparedness agreements? Rebecca, second. Katie, any questions or comments? All in favor? Passes 8-0.
The next is a budget transfer of $38,000 to cover the cost of fuel for transportation.
Can I have a motion to approve this fund transfer? Gloria, second. Kelly, any questions or comments? All in favor? Passes 8-0.
Thank you. And finally, I have some donations to the district. The first is a varsity softball field scoreboard, which is being donated by the Varsity Softball Booster Club. The second is a stationary bike for the physical therapy department at the high school, a donation from Nancy Evans. The third is a bell kit from Karen DeJoy, and the fourth is a violin from Susan Wendt.
Can I have a motion to accept the donations? Judy, second. Gloria, any questions or comments? Just a thank you, especially for that scoreboard. That's like the first thing people noticed when I was at a softball game over there, and nobody knew what the score was. All in favor? Passes 8-0. Thank you. Next, we have superintendent action. Dr. Wiles?
Thank you. I have just one item this evening, and that is for the board's consideration, a memorandum of agreement between the Guilderland Central School District, the Guilderland Teachers Association, and Anna Bartlett.
Can I have a motion to approve the MOA? Blanca, second, Katie. Any questions or comments? All in favor? Passes 8-0. Thank you. Next, we have board president action. I have 2 items. One is the DEI committee appointments. And so first, thank you everybody for writing letters. We had so many letters to go through, which is an awesome response. And this is going into the second year? Is it the second year? The third year?
4th year.
Oh my gosh, sorry.
Time
That's
flies.
really bad. Okay, but so it's great that it's continuing to go on and there's so much interest. So I'll just read the names, and I apologize if I misspeak. So we have staff members Emma Dreilinger and Mike Laster for another year. Community members Shaka Bedgood and Tomika Collado Robinson. We have 2 parents, Beth Martinez and Suzanne Koala, and then students Varshini Siddhi, Shreya Sajan, Rachel Otter, and Noah Kaufman. So thank you all for submitting your letters, and I hope if you were not able to join the committee at this point that you still participate with the subcommittees on this larger committee, and I think there's room for everyone to participate in different ways, so thank you. Next are the set of policies that the policy committee has been working on. Oh, I'm sorry, we have to vote. Thank you, Linda. Can I have a motion to accept the DEI committee appointments? Blanca, second Gloria. Any questions or comments? All in favor? Aye, passes 8-0. Thank you. Sorry about that. I was just a little bit too excited for this. Next is the Board of Education policy adoption. So we have 3 policies here: the anti-hate policy, the public use of school buildings, and the resolution that goes along with the use of school buildings. Can I have a motion to accept these policies? Gloria, second. Katie, any questions or comments? I'm just excited, and thanks for all the students to come to the policy meeting, to put their input in, and to Matt Pinchinot for also supporting the work, and I'm really excited to see this. So any other questions or comments? All in favor? Passes 8-0. Thank you. Next, we have board committee reports. We'll start with audit. Rebecca?
We met on June 5th. We reviewed the external auditor agreement and the claims auditor report, both of which were approved tonight. We don't have a pending meeting.
So thank you. Next, communications. Gloria? Okay, thank you. And then policy, Nate is not here, so you can see the fruits of our labor from the policy the policies that we just passed above, and there's not another scheduled meeting. Next, business. Judy?
We have not met, and we do not have a meeting scheduled.
Okay. And last but not least, DEI. Rebecca?
So we met the day before our last meeting, so we reported at that meeting. Our next meeting is June 21st, and we obviously approved the members to the board tonight.
Awesome, thank you. And we'll move on to public comment number 2. Are there any other public comments, Linda? No? Okay, thank you. And then last, board issues, ideas, and sharing. Kim? And then Gloria?
So I'm supposed to share tonight because our group is first. We have a group that, yet I'm pointing to the award if people didn't notice, we got the Biggest Loser. So Alish Melchiotti, Tim Wiles, Amanda Beadle, and myself went to a fundraiser last Wednesday for the YWCA. We played Family Feud, and we were so great that we got dead last. So we are supposed to show this. You'll see this at town meetings because we've kind of realized we created a dream team without really doing it on purpose, where we have a school board member, a town board member, a library board member, and a Chamber of Commerce board member. So we're going to keep it going. We are looking for softball players for the next fundraiser because we need more people. But yeah, just now you'll probably see this. Whoever has the next board meeting, it'll be there.
Great, thanks, Kim. Gloria?
there was so much going on last week. I got to attend a couple of really neat events. One evening was right here in this room. I mean, it didn't look like this room. It was filled with all our families from different countries around the world, and tables of food that if you didn't make it, you don't know what you were missing. It was the 17th annual ENL extravaganza, and I'd just like to congratulate the families who were so welcoming. I really had such a great time. I especially want to say to Grandma Caroline and her two granddaughters, Lara and Wanda, who welcomed me to their table, and we had a wonderful evening that night. And all the foreign language teachers were here. Marsha Ranieri was here, and it was just a great night, a really celebratory night. And then another night, I was here in the same room, and it was the Science Research Symposium. Now, I had never been to this before in my life. I felt like I was out of my element totally. These kids sign up for a 3-year, it's a course, but it runs for 3 years, where they choose a topic and carry out an original research project. Now, these aren't topics I've heard about. Neurodegenerative disorders, therapeutic gene therapy, pancreas transplants in relation to diabetes. That's just 3 of them. I mean, it went on to the evenings. These kids are just amazing. And they work on this for 3 years. They get a mentor who is a professional in the field. It was some night to listen to these young people. Gives you a big up, you know. And then there was another night I was here. A number of you were here for the award ceremony, where scholarships were handed out to kids, and it's a great time of year to celebrate.
Great, thanks, Gloria. Any other sharing? Blanca?
So I attended the FMS PTA meeting. Was it yesterday? I think it's a blur in June. It was yesterday. And one of the things we were talking about, and it's been sort of a constant theme, is how PTA recruitment needs some help. So numbers are down, I think, across all PTAs in the district. And so we're brainstorming ways that maybe we can be of assistance. And so I wondered if it might be possible to invite PTAs to come in, or reps of the PTAs to come in during a board meeting and talk a little bit about what the PTAs do, what their purpose is, and sort of, you know, it can be short, but some kind of presentation that might help them boost for their membership. So I just bring that to you guys for your consideration.
Do you mean like FMS PTA, Blanca, or all of them?
I don't think just FMS. It's all of them are kind of hurting. So what they were saying is that there's kind of this misnomer, this belief that really PTAs are just kind of about bake sales, but they do so much more. So it would be great if they could have a place where they could come and say, these are the great things that we did last year, these are the things that we hope to do in the future, and this is our purpose, and try to help recruit people. But I don't know if we're allowed to do that, and so I thought
Is that something PTA Council can like coordinate, since they have like all the PTA presidents together?
That's probably the most efficient way to do it.
Sure.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I would definitely start with the council, because it's not just district-wide, it's statewide, where our membership is down like by thousands and thousands. We do have a New York State PTA membership toolkit also, and I know at least at Pine Bush, I can't speak for the other ones, we have a lot of different ideas to try to kind of include our community in a lot more and engage a lot more people, but start with the council, I would say.
Okay. Great. Any other, Katie and then Kelly?
I just wanted to congratulate Emily Tice again. She is a Guilderland senior who I had the privilege of presenting Outstanding Student of the Year award to at Albany CTE graduation. So she's in culinary, and we had the privilege of seeing her in action at the BOCES board dinner, and she really is quite a leader. So congratulations to her again.
Thanks, Katie and Kelly.
We didn't mention it here, but I was invited to go to the Proctors for the No Place for Hate school celebration that Guilderland Elementary recently was awarded. I'm not sure if everybody got invited or that my kids just happened to go to the school, but my kids happened to go to the school, so I attended, and it was lovely celebration. So congratulations to GES that got that designation this year. That's it. Happy Pride Month.
All right, so can I have a motion to adjourn? Blanca, second. Gloria, all in favor? Passes 8-0. Thanks, everybody.